USDAW is one of the biggest unions in the country. We've got around 400,000 members, primarily in the retail sector, but also allied industries, for example, distribution and food manufacturing. I work in our research and economics department, so as a researcher, please forgive me for any incoherence on my part if I used to being behind the scenes and at a podium. I'm going to try and give a brief overview of our workplace strategy for young people. I don't think anyone will deny that the government's policies will make a large number of young people seriously question their educational choices. More young people are going to face financial difficulties if they continue with their education, with some deciding, unfortunately, that the cost is too high. This means that we as unions are going to encounter more and more young people in the workplace with higher qualifications, who lack higher qualifications, not for academic reasons, not because they're not smart enough, but because of financial reasons. They simply can't support themselves. For my union, as I said, we represent members within the retail sector, which has a large number of both part-time workers and young workers, particularly affected by these policies. Our approach has been and will continue to be twofold. Firstly, we need to make sure that young people who continue down the traditional educational path towards further education or higher education are supported. This means that, especially in light of cuts to the EMA, we need to make sure that work pays for young people. Students need to be paid a rate that makes supporting themselves and their studies through part-time work viable. We need to ensure that the basic rate of pay for young workers is as high as possible to enable students to support themselves from as few hours as possible, which, if they end up working a full-time job, they're not going to be able to study full-time, especially in the retail sector, as I said, large number of part-time workers, part-time young workers who are studying as well. For example, last year, within USDAW, our negotiators secured the abolition of youth rates at Tesco and Sainsbury's, and Morrison's moved their youth rates to 88% of the adult rate, making a substantial difference to young workers in those workplaces. Also, we work to secure policies which support students, such as study leave and flexible working options around exam time, and term time store transfers. At the end of the day, we need to avoid students being put in a position where they are made to choose between continued learning and continued financial security. As unions, we need to ensure that those young people, sorry, I skipped a bit, that's the incoherence I referred to earlier. The second area we need to focus on as unions, and one that USDAW does quite a lot of work on, is lifelong learning. Inevitably, some young people are going to be put off from continuing their education through financial difficulties. As unions, we need to make sure that these young people are not written off. Shop stewards and union learning reps have a vital role to play in promoting learning opportunities within the workplace. The key is to make learning attractive and accessible for people who have otherwise been deterred from education. Towards this aim, USDAW's Lifelong Learning team has worked on a number of initiatives, including setting up over 60 joint site learning committees, opening 53 on-site learning centres in partnership with employers, signed provider partnership agreements with over 30 colleges across the country. We've trained over 800 union learning reps to promote learning within the workplace, and we've worked to make learning affordable through joint company union learning funds and financial incentives for our members to study through the Open University. I hope this is, we've restricted to time, so I hope this has given you a good brief insight into some of the work that USDAW has been doing to support our young members and ensure that their learning opportunities and life opportunities remain open to them. If we're going to be successful in reaching out to young people failed by this government, I believe that workplace support for students and workplace accessibility to learning opportunities for non-students are what will make the difference for those young people. Thank you.